Hello! Today's learning goal is to find the radius and diameter of a cone. For today's learning goal, we are using the same formula that we've been using all week. Volume equals 1/3 pi r squared height, or volume equals pi r squared h over 3, depending on if your calculator can do fractions or not. Today, we're going to be given the volume and the height of the cone, and you have to find either the radius or the diameter. We're going to go over two examples, one where you're asked to find the diameter and one where you're asked to find the radius. For the first example, I'll be using this formula where we're using a fraction. For the second example, I'll be using this formula where we're dividing by 3. Let's look at the first example here. So the first example says, the volume of a cone is 615.44. Its height is 12. Find the diameter of the cone. Okay, as we do this problem, we're starting with our formula, which is up here. Volume equals 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. This is the volume, so that's V. And this is the height, so that's h. I'm going to go ahead and plug those in to the formula. So for V, I'm putting in 615.44. For h, I'm putting in 12. So this is now going to say 615.44 equals 1/3 times 3.14. I don't know r, so I'm going to leave that r squared. And then h is going to be 12. Now, I can simplify this, and when I simplify this, even though there's an r squared in the middle, I can still multiply these three things together because they're all on the same side, and this whole thing is one giant multiplication problem. There's no addition or subtraction anywhere in there, so I can multiply things together even if they're separated by a variable. So in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and do 1/3 times 3.14 times 12. And I'm going to get 12.56. So this is now 615.44 equals 12.56 r squared. It's important that you bring down r squared and don't just turn it into r. Next, we're going to get r squared alone. So we're going to divide both sides by 12.56. So I do 615.44 divided by 12.56. And I get 49. So now I have 49 equals, over here they cross out, and I have r squared. So I have 49 equals r squared. Now, in order to get rid of squared, you need to do the opposite. And the opposite of squared is square root. So I'm going to go ahead and square root both sides. I'm going to do the square root of 49 and then the square root of r squared. The square root of 49 is 7. And the square root of r squared is just r, because squared and square root cross off. So I have 7 equals r. Now, that's not my final answer, because if I go back to the question, it says find the diameter of the cone. Diameter is double the radius. So if the radius is 7, the diameter is 14. So that's my answer to this problem. Let's go ahead now and look at our second example. So the second example says, the volume of a cone is 423.9. Its height is 5. Find the radius. So here I'm looking for the radius, and I'm going to go ahead and use this example and this formula. So 423.9 is the volume. Height is 5, so that's h. When I plug things into this formula, I'm going to get 423.9 equals, for pi, I'm going to put 3.14 r squared. Height is 5 all over 3. We're going to go ahead and do 3.14 times 5. So 3.14 times 5 is 15.7. So now I'm at 423.9 equals 15.7 r squared over 3. I'm going to go ahead and divide 15.7 by 3. And I get 5.23 repeating. So I have 423.9 equals 5.23 repeating r squared. Okay, it's important that you keep that repeating sign. You can't just make it 5.23. You have to keep the repeating sign. And on this next step, you have to repeat that 3 in your calculator. You have to fill up your calculator with 3's. So we're going to divide here by 5.23 repeating. The repeating is important or you won't get the right answer. So I'm going to do 423.9 divided by 5.23 repeating, and I'm going to repeat that 3 in my calculator. I'm going to fill up my whole calculator with 3's so that I've got that repeating. And I get 81. Here they cross off and I just have r squared. So I have 81 equals r squared. Again, if I had just put in 5.23 without repeating the 3, it wouldn't have given me the right answer. Now I need to square root both sides to get rid of squared, because to get rid of r squared you need to do square root. The square root of 81 is 9. And here, square root and squared cross off, leaving just r. So the radius is 9. I'm going to go back up to see if I'm finding the radius or diameter. It says find the radius, so that's my final answer, 9. All right, if you have any questions, please email me. Have a wonderful day.